In rice farming, we have different stages of development, or we have different approaches when handling the young seedling. You remember I took you through how the rice is planted, how everything that the field is prepared, how we make the molding, as you can see the further hedge there, how we make the molding to hold water. Now, we also have steps, we also have procedures that you need to adhere to, or a farmer needs to adhere to, in order now to produce the best rice and the good rice. Whatever you see in our plates in the evening or during lunch is something that has been worked for by expert and by with a lot of technicalities and expertise. At this stage, this is the 4th week after transplanting, and as you can see, we still have water. The rice is still have water, but last week the field was moist, but it was not dry. We have different occasions where we have water, other occasions we don't have water, because one, we need to apply the fertilizer, we need to do the weeding, and we need to control even some pest and diseases, because it's prone to pest and diseases. Already we have applied a nitrogenous fertilizer at this stage. Like you all know, a nitrogenous fertilizer comes now in order to increase the vegetation, and also it is also a booting stage. See, after we transplanted, it was one stem, but now it is forming many stems. That means the rice is booting. From this stage now we'll go to the next stage, the next step or the next stage, where now we'll introduce also a new fertilizer or a new product now, in order now to, because it is the grain introduction stage. But as per now, there's several things, like I've mentioned, we need to do. One, we need to do a lot of weeding, because because of water and the fertile land, the field attracts so many weeds or so many other fallen plants, and we can weed in 2 approaches or in different approaches. Among the weeding is use of chemicals, where we use a selective herbicide in order now to control any plant that is not of grass family, because as you know, the rice is of grass family. So we bring in a product that controls any broad-leaved weed, or any other weed that is not of grass family. And we usually use a product like 2,4-D. It's one of the best products. But in case there are some other weeds which are of grass family now, like in this far head, you can see this one. This is not a rice. This is not rice. The whole of this is not rice. These are weed. This is a weed. It looks like rice. You cannot even differentiate. You have to be very keen. Now, when it comes to these grass family weeds, we uproot them. Like you have seen, you have to remove them manually. So even after applying the chemicals and the weed control, you have to come now in order to control some of these weeds, and to make sure you remove all of this, because at the end of it, we want the field to be very clean, so that you cannot, when harvesting or when getting the grains, you are not going to dirtify the rice or to have an fallen materials in your rice. You want it as clean as possible. So after that, we control some pest and diseases, and among the pests that we control are the armyworms. The armyworms we just control like we do the control is the same as them in maize production, or in other grass family, the product that we use in order to control that. From there, we also have diseases. For an example of diseases is blast, but in most cases, the blast is experienced during when it's very hot and in dry conditions. But when the weather is like this, very humid, very cool, we don't experience that. You may keep asking yourself whether due to a lot of water, a lot of water can affect the rice. It cannot. Rice production dries very well in wet conditions, though currently because of the technology and everything, we also have some rice field which doesn't need a lot of water. They are just planted like maize, needs less water, and they grow well. But for the case of this variety, they have to be here up to the time, unless we want to apply fertilizer. That's when we'll move water. After application, we bring back water. When we want to spray, because we have to move in between here, we remove water. Then we return the waters again. Up to the time when these grains will be mature, and that way now we completely remove water, bring in the tractors or harvest manually. So for now, we have to keep this field underwater, or we have to make the soil moist up to the next level when it will be ready for harvesting. Rice usually takes around 120 days to 130 days for it to be harvested. This has already taken, it's already 35 days today. So, and you can see it's doing very well. And because this is the teethering stage, or this is where the stems are developing. At the end of it, the whole field will be filled with rice, and the more the stems, the better the production and the higher the yield. Until next time, stay tuned to this channel so that I can take you through rice production journey and other crops. Let's grow together. Bye.